I currently live in Australia, and every time I step outside the house, I usually see at least one drunk homeless guy attempting to hit the gritty on the road and block all the traffic. And then I see at least one angry road raging driver attempting to run over a drunk homeless guy hitting the gritty on the road while calling him swear words I've never even heard of before. And then I also see the hottest MILFs with the biggest mummy milkers laying down on their couch in their homes, which don't even have any windows but have an unlocked front door. Anyways, Australia is stereotypically pretty wild compared to other countries. However, apparently in prehistoric times, it was somehow 10 times worse. Prehistoric Australia was nightmare fuel by Extinct Zoo.
Just like how everything is bigger in Texas, everything is deadlier in Australia.
Wait, what do you mean everything is bigger in Texas? Even the dinglings? Is that, wait, is that even true? Okay, apparently, factually, it's not true. They don't have bigger dinglings in Texas. Although, like, Texas people, they always say that they have, like, the biggest ones. What about the boobs, though? Are the boobs bigger in Texas as well? Okay, apparently that's not true. Although the thing that is true about Texas is that the people are, like, physically bigger. Like, they're fatter. So I guess technically the boobs are also bigger. Although it's, like, it's not female boobs. It's, like, the man boobs.
Everything is deadlier in Australia. Mostly the nature, as it's home to a highly disproportionate amount of potentially lethal animals, having more venomous species than all but 2 countries.
Wait, is this actually true? We have over 50 different venomous animals. Meanwhile, America has... Where's America? Is that over here? America has between 30 and 40. But 30 and 40, that's still a lot, honestly.
Yet, it takes the cake when only considering venomous animals that are fatal to humans. On top of this, it is home to 20 of the 25 most deadliest snakes in the world, including all of the top 11.
Okay, that is insane. That's a very insane fact. But like, speaking from personal experience, so I live in Melbourne. It's a very like urban area. I have never seen any of these in my entire life. Like, maybe if you live out in like the bush, like, yeah, sure, you'll see this. But like, most of Australia is like populated near the coast on like in urban areas. And so majority of people in Australia will never see any of these in their entire life. Because I'm pretty sure you only see these snakes in like the red area, but only 0.9% of people in Australia actually live in these areas.
And it's the native country of one of the only birds known to occasionally kill humans, the cassowary.
Yeah, the cassowary.
Meanwhile, you also have the classics like the saltwater crocodile, great white shark, spiders, and potent jellyfish. And in case you needed a little more proof that Australia really is the land of nope, you should know that it's where some of the largest insects in the world call home, is one of the few places where pine cones can kill you, and is where the top 3 largest wildfires in the 21st century took place. The list could go on, but you get the idea.
Okay, what the frick is this? A crocodonky. Okay, this is an animal we do not have. A crocodonky is a crocodile head on a donkey body.
So it may be hard to stomach the fact that Australia is actually much more tame than it used to be. And I'm not talking about the fact that it used to be home to dinosaurs, but rather giant monitor lizards and terrestrial crocodiles, just to name a couple. And surprisingly, you don't even have to travel that far back to arrive at this forsaken Australia, as it reached its peak in chaoticness about 50,000 years ago.
You don't even need to travel that far back. Bro, 50,000 years ago is that seems like a long time back. I thought you were gonna say like 50 years ago, bro. 50,000 years ago. Do you know how many zeros are in there? That's 0,000. 50,000.
Which is right around when humans first arrived. Talk about good timing. Back in those days, reptilian predators, not mammalian, ruled Australia. And it wouldn't take long for anyone to realize that something was very wrong once they set foot on land, as there were a host of nightmarish creatures wandering around. One being a literal land croc. Not a crocodile lookalike, but a genuine real crocodilian that happened to run comfortably on land.
So it's a crocodile that can run like a bull, as fast as a bull. Okay, that would be a little bit problematic.
This creature was known as the quincana, and it was one of Australia's top predators during the Pleistocene. It shared many features with the crocodiles we know of today.
I mean, wait, crocodiles are pretty fast anyways. The current day modern crocodile is pretty fast anyways. Like, they can run 17 kilometers per hour, which is 10 miles per hour. I think that is faster than some people can run, right? Yeah, the average human runs from 8 to 11 kilometers per hour. And so that is still slower than a crocodile. So if the modern day crocodiles can run that fast, that means like the olden day crocodile, like what is it? The prehistoric crocodile could probably run like 10 times faster than that. Like, this thing could probably run faster than like a car or something.
It shared many features with the crocodiles we know of today, and was once even considered a true crocodile. Although, thanks to a very odd skull structure, it was moved to the extinct clade of Mekosukune.
Was this person in Squid Game? Was this a Squid Game actor? Mekosukune.
Along with the odd skull, paleontologists also noticed that it had some strange legs as well, that were very long for a crocodilian, allowing it to keep its body clear of terrain and potentially sprint. This has led to it being considered a terrestrial predator, with further evidence coming from its hoof-like toes and flat tail, which wasn't designed for swimming. Unfortunately for all land dwellers, the quincana was also no small critter, with most adults measuring 3 meters or 10 feet, and weighing 200 kilograms or 440 pounds.
Bro, this animal sucks. I thought it was going to be so much bigger. You're telling me it's this big? That is tiny. I thought it was going to be huge. Like when I saw this photo, I thought it was going to be like this size, like massive, like a giant. But it was only this tall? Bro, that is, okay. This animal sucks, bro. I could easily 1v1 this guy.
Making it nearly identical in weight to a medium-sized American alligator.
Yeah, that's a bite mark.
Not to worry though, as there were larger individuals as well, with one specimen reaching 6 meters or 20 feet in length.
Okay, yeah, this one, yeah, I might have trouble 1v1ing this. This one, yeah, I probably wouldn't be able to win a 1v1. Yeah, this, I think this is the one I was sort of expecting. But this one, bro, I would kick this down the road so hard.
At this size, it had no problem taking down mammals, including an unlucky human from time to time. Getting attacked by this croc was an absolute nightmare, as its teeth were designed to slice animals up like a filet mignon, with each tooth being blade-like, compressed, and heavily serrated. These kind of teeth are referred to as xiphidon teeth, and is what was commonly seen in theropods. Having such vicious dentition let the quincana take down animals that were considerably larger than itself, with each bite tearing through large portions of flesh and muscle. There's a chance as well that you couldn't even outsmart this croc by jumping in the water, as there is some evidence that it was an accomplished swimmer, in spite of spending most of its life on land. Shockingly, or maybe by this point, unshockingly, even a terrestrial croc that could swim and had dinosaur-like teeth wasn't safe from other Australian creatures, as there was also the largest known terrestrial lizard walking around. Okay,
this image is a little bit insane. I'm going to most likely have to blur it, but what I'm seeing, it's a bit of a spit roast, but instead of, you know, the corn hub spit roast, it's like there are two crocodiles just pulling a human apart. Okay.
As there was also the largest known terrestrial lizard walking around, Megalania. There's a fair chance you've heard of this reptile due to its recent popularity.
Nope.
Yet, you may not have heard that it's no longer known as the Megalania,
Komodo
rather Varanus priscus.
Bro, where are these names coming from? Who invents these names? Like, I assume this guy, he didn't choose his own name, so why are we allowed to just name him? Like, this name kind of sucks, honestly. It's not really like a scary, like, ferocious name. I don't know whether I'd be happy with this name, honestly.
Meaning, it was actually a giant species of monitor lizard. Despite this classification change, the Megalania is still usually referred to by its original name, perhaps because it's much more fitting as it translates to the Great Roamer, a nod to its massive size, and massive it was. Paleontologists never seem to agree on the exact measurements, but all estimates have given it a length of at least 3.5 meters or 11 feet, with an approximate weight of 158 kilograms or 348 pounds.
Okay, this one would also be a problem. Like, to 1v1 this, I mean, where would you start? Look, they say it weighs 1,000 kilograms. That's 1 ton. This weighs 1 ton. But I mean, at least it doesn't look like insanely deadly. Like, it doesn't have like the sharp teeth like the crocodiles, right?
So at the minimum, we are talking about a lizard that was as long as a sea lion and as heavy as a reindeer. And at its maximum, things frankly got crazy, with studies finding it to have potentially obtained lengths of up to 7.9 meters or 26 feet, which is based on fragmented remains that were scaled up to living monitor lizards. This would have made them just as lengthy as the longest recorded anaconda, but 8.5 times heavier due to its robust build, with an absolute maximum weight of 2 tons. However, for the most part, large Megalania were probably no more than 575 kilograms or 1,200 pounds. Although it wasn't only a giant, as like living monitor lizards, the Megalania possessed razor-sharp teeth that were fairly long and recurved, granting extra grip while holding onto prey. The Megalania is further thought to have used its tremendously powerful legs and sharp claws to bring down prey and foe alike.
Okay, realistically, what are you doing if you're like, you're just walking in the bush, minding your own business, and then you hear some random noise, you turn around and you see this goofy old lizard just sprinting towards you like this. Like, what are you doing? I mean, me personally, okay, like realistically, you'd probably have to give it a quick, like, 1-2 jab, then a left-right hook, then sort of, like, do a flip over it onto its back, and then proceed to give it, like, the most violent arse-opening back shots you've ever given.
Naturally, in true Australian fashion, the Megalania might have been venomous as well due to its heritage, since all monitor lizards presently living are considered to be venomous. Their venom, similar to what is seen in some snakes, works as an anticoagulant.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Meaning it prevents blood from clotting, which leads to shock and infections as it keeps wounds open for longer periods of time. And because the Komodo dragon, also known as the Komodo monitor, is the Megalania's closest living relative, certain paleontologists believe that the two shared similar hunting tactics of biting prey, retreating, and then letting the venom do the work. So that's to say, even if you managed to get away from an attacking Megalania, you would still be doomed. All of these attributes make Megalania feasibly the worst thing you could have run into.
I mean, honestly, like, to be honest, I would rather run into this compared to, like, one of these. Because just look at this. You're telling me you would rather run into this compared to, like, this little tiny Komodo dragon? Any day of the week, I'd much rather run to this thing. It doesn't look deadly at all. Like, you could probably, like, befriend this like a Pokemon or something. Whereas this one, yeah, no way you can befriend this like a Pokemon.
Worst thing you could have run into. Unless, that is, you have ophidiophobia, a fear of snakes. In this case, your mortal enemy back then would have been Wonambi. This name may not sound like much, but it should strike fear into any who hears it, as it belongs to a now extinct giant serpent that lived right alongside both the Quincana and Megalania. This snake is unlike any we know of today, for it belonged to a family of now extinct snakes known as the Matsoidae.
Bro, what language is this even? The Matsoidae? Isn't all of the animals meant to be like in like Rome or like Latin or something? Why do they change from like Korean over here to like Italian, and then they're going like, what is this, Matsoidae?
Snakes from this family were primarily characterized by somewhat inflexible primitive jaws and giant sizes, with the Wonambi being one of the biggest. It didn't quite reach the length of the longest living snakes of today, but came awfully close, with the larger specimens having a length of 6 meters or 20 feet.
Damn, that's almost as big as my snake, if you know what I'm saying.
Equivalent to a large Burmese python. Luckily for us, the Wonambi did break the Australian trend of possessing venom. Nevertheless, its size still rendered it a potent killer.
Is that
might
a
have
crocodile?
hunted in a very similar fashion to the extant constrictor snakes, which is to say, by using ambushes near bodies of water to strike unsuspecting prey that were then killed by tightening its muscles and squeezing the animal so hard that blood couldn't reach their brain or heart, thus incapacitating them. Afterwards, though, is where things got different, because as mentioned, the Wonambi had an inflexible and somewhat smaller head that couldn't swallow prey whole. This may sound like a good thing for prey, but in reality, it just made the snake more nightmarish. As to make up for this inability, it would simply use its sharp teeth and powerful body to tear chunks off prey, sometimes even disemboweling them.
But I mean, at that point, the animal was already dead, and so it's not like you can like feel any of that. Although, yeah, like the body won't be able to be like retrieved for like burial or that. Whereas, like if the snake swallows it whole, then like an animal, like okay, hypothetically, an animal could come over, like just kill the snake and like open up the stomach and then like retrieve the body and then do like a proper burial. Did they even do that? Like what was this, like 50,000 years ago?
Such an unpleasant way to go out may have been more common for early Australians than being preyed upon by the Megalania or Quincana, as one study found that in some indigenous populations today, snake attacks by constrictors are a common cause of death. By now, it would be reasonable for you to wonder how any mammal could survive living with so many reptilian horrors. And the answer is, the mammals were just as crazy.
What?
Best exemplified by the Thylocoleo.
Right, that's not a Thylocoleo. This is a wombat. It literally has the wombat mouth, except it's like mixed with like a cheetah. Right, it's literally a harmless wombat. Do you see this? It's just a cute little wombat. There is no way this is deadly. If I see this out in the wild, I'm just patting it on the head. I'm not gonna run away from this. This is not even deadly.
This mammal is best known for its immense size, with adults being the largest known mammalian predators to ever live in Australia. On average, specimens were about the same size as a European wild boar, while the largest Thylacoleo were on par with fully matured female lions and tigers, with whom it also shared a few characteristics. Yet, this was no feline. Far from it, actually, as the Thylacoleo was really a marsupial mammal that is most closely related to the koala.
What, so it's just one of these? Bro, these are the most harmless. Actually, I don't even know whether these are harmless. I've read in some sources that, like, they can be a little bit, like, aggressive. But, like, bro, just look at this. It's just a koala.
And like the koala, it's thought that the Thylacoleo had a smaller brain. However, in its case, a smaller brain was a huge advantage.
What?
As it gave the skull more space for extremely dense muscles and wide, sturdy bones. That ultimately led to the strongest bite, pound for pound, of any known mammal. It's been estimated that a medium-sized Thylacoleo was capable of biting with the same force as a lion 2.5 times its size.
Damn.
Leading paleontologists to suspect that this marsupial was capable of taking down big-bodied prey that were 15 times heavier than itself, and it likely did so in an extremely unique fashion, thanks to its dentition, which consisted of large incisors that were similar to the elongated canines seen in other mammals. Furthermore, it boasted giant premolars that almost resembled flat blades. Together with its powerful muscles, these bizarre teeth worked wonders, killing animals by piercing deep into the flesh with the incisors, while the premolars severed the poor animal's windpipe, spinal cord, and arteries, causing all sorts of fatal problems.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would be extremely surprised if it didn't cause any fatal problems. Like, the animal was literally decapitating another animal. Like, most people would think that maybe that would kill the animal.
This mode of killing was so efficient that researchers think it took less than a minute for this marsupial lion to kill large prey, while the same task for an African lion can take up to 15 minutes or more. And for whatever reason, if its bite didn't do the trick, the Thylacoleo had lethal claws as well. On each of its front feet, there was a single large retractable claw that was attached to semi-opposable thumbs.
Wait, they had a retractable claw? Like a hidden blade in, like, Assassin's Creed? So they basically had one of these just inbuilt into their finger.
This implied it can move these claws around with ease and dish out killing blows if needed. These additional weapons were also hooked, leading to the idea that Thylacoleo was a climber who possibly dragged kills up trees like leopards do. Climbing further allowed it to navigate caves and rough terrain, adding another layer of complexity to this already overpowered marsupial. And so with all of this said, Australia had no doubt some pretty terrifying predators all around, making life fairly interesting for the first humans to arrive. And for them, they wouldn't even be able to find peace.
Bro, what is this? A kangaroo? Is this like an ancient prehistoric kangaroo? Bro, this looks so ugly, no offense. It looks like it got hit by a bus somehow, even though this was like prehistoric times. Like, this is what a kangaroo should look like, you know? It's meant to look, you know, cute and fluffy. But this, bro, what even is this? This animal looks like it's in, like, chronic, severe pain.
And for them, they wouldn't even be able to find peace around the herbivores, as in response to biological killing machines, the herbivores got pretty ferocious themselves. A good demonstration of this is the Diprotodon, an extinct marsupial whose closest living relative is the wombat. The two also did look in some ways similar, except unlike the wombat, the Diprotodon was massive.
But you want to know what else is massive?
Plausibly weighing up to 3.85 tons, which makes it equal in weight to a fully grown Asian elephant.
Bro, it weighs 3.5 tons, and then you say it's the equivalent of a fully grown Asian elephant. Meanwhile, you're just comparing it to a human. This weighs 3.5 tons, and it weighs the same amount as a human. I mean, maybe if this human was like queso or something, no offense.
This size gave it much needed durability and would have made hunting it a questionable endeavor, a task further discouraged by the presence of a surprisingly strong bite. The Diprotodon was strictly a vegetarian, but nonetheless, it still had a nasty bite that reached 11,000 newtons in force at the back molars, giving it more than enough power to technically break a human's femur. In addition to elephant-sized wombats, birds too were supersized in prehistoric Australia at the time, especially the Genyornis.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of a Pokemon, Genyornis. Where are they getting these names from? They're just ripping it from Pokemon. Yeah, it literally is the name of a Pokemon. It's this one, Genyornis.
This ancient bird resembled the once widespread terror birds. However, it actually belonged to a separate family of flightless birds, known as the Dromornithidae, or thunderbirds. All members of this family,
I guarantee that's another Pokemon,
included, are believed to have been herbivores despite their menacing appearances. Though, like many ancient Australian creatures, they did have size to help balance their defenses out. The Genyornis in particular routinely grew to heights taller than humans, with the average individual coming in at 2 meters or 6.5 feet. Moreover, this bird had giant robust bones that gave it durability and heftiness, resulting in it weighing a full quarter of a ton. And if its size wasn't enough of a deterrent, the Genyornis could always use its beak or sharp claws to ward off predators that got too close. By now, it should be obvious that ancient Australia was the last place you'd want to visit. And just to really drive it all home, remember that nearly every dangerous animal in Australia today was also still around back then. And that's not to mention
Oh my
other extinct
god, that
animals
is
which
ugly. That is ugly. That is insanely ugly. Get that off my screen. Is that a kangaroo? That's not a kangaroo. That is definitely not a kangaroo. Jesus Christ, this is a kangaroo. What is that thing?
And that's not to mention other extinct animals which I didn't mention, including large turtles and additional extinct crocodilians like the Paludorex. And of course, nature itself was also harsh with extreme droughts being present. And yet, despite all of these odds, humans still survived in Australia.
And so I guess the moral of the story is that if reincarnation is real and you have the option to be spawned back into prehistoric Australia, do not take that option. Just please do not take that option.